A hill station's vintage models, Ruskin Ball. There is less crime in the hills than in the plains, and so the few murders that do take place from time to time stand out as landmarks in the annals of the hill station. Among the gravestones in the Mussoorie cemetery, there is one which bears the inscription, "Murdered by the hand he befriended." This is the grave of Mr. James Reginald Clapp, a chemist's assistant who was brutally done to death on the night of 31st August 1909. Miss Ripley Bean, who has spent most of her 87 years in his hill station, remembers the case clearly, though she has only a girl at the time. From the details she has given me and from a brief account in the Mussoorie Miscellany, now out of print, I am able to reconstruct this interesting case and a couple of others which were the sensations of their respective seasons. Mr. Clapp was an assistant in the chemist shop of Messrs. J.B. and E. Samuel, no longer in existence, situated in one of the busiest sections of the mall. At that time, the adjoining cantonment of Landour was an important convalescent center for British soldiers. Mr. Clapp was popular with the soldiers, and he befriended them, most of them, when they had run short of money. He was a steady worker and sent most of his savings home to his mother in Birmingham. She was planning to use the money to buy the house in which she lived at the time of murder. Clapp was particularly friendly with a Corporal Allen, who was eventually to be hanged at the Naini jail. The murder was brutal, the initial attack being launched with a soda water bottle on the victim's head. Clapp's throat was then cut from ear to ear with his own razor, which was left behind in the room. The body was discovered on the floor of the shop the next morning by the proprietor, Mr. Samuel, who did not live on the premises. Suspicion immediately fell on Corporal Allen because he had left Mussoorie that same night, arriving at Rajpur in the foothills, a 7-mile walk by the bridle path, many hours later than he was expected as a Raipur boarding house. According to some, Clapp has last been seen in the corporal's company. Tikka Khan, 1915 to 2002. The Bangladesh war had just ended. I was so eager to be the first Indian journalist to interview General Tikka Khan, as he was determined to have nothing to do with any Indian. He was angry that he had been dubbed by Indian press as the Butcher of Bengal and was smarting under the ignominious defeat inflicted by the Indian army on Pakistan. He did not acknowledge my letter asking for an interview. It was my friend Mazdur Qadir who interceded on my behalf and persuaded him to talk to me as a friend of Pakistan. General Tikka Khan received me courteously in his bungalow. He was a short, stocky man with a dour expression. He looked more like a bank clerk than a soldier. With him was his orderly, a huge man in a Pathan-style cap with a stiffly starched turban. As I looked around, I noticed the paraphernalia usual in the homes of army top brass, regimental insignia, trophies, and photographs in silver frames. On the mantelpiece and walls were quotations from the Quran, including one that I was able to decipher. I kept it myself as I felt it might come in handy in my dialogue with the general. Tikka Khan was a bitter man. He maintained that stories published in the Indian and foreign press of mass killing and gang rapes committed by Pakistanis were untrue. We are a God fearing people. Many soldiers were a disciplined body of men. They did not go about shooting innocent Bengalis and molesting their women. It is you Indians who spread these lies and had British newspapers publish these calumnies against us. Publish these calumnies against us, he said, looking directly into my eyes. I made a mild protest. I told him that I had visited Bangladesh soon after the war and heard stories of atrocities committed by Pakistani troops and officers from the mouth of Bangladeshi Muslims. They could not be they could not all be lies, I said, as I saw the enormous anger against Pakistanis, but for the Indian troops to protect them, Pakistani prisoners of war would have lynched by Bangladeshi mobs. There might have been a few incidents, the general finally conceded. There are some black sheep in every herd, and you know how prone Bengalis are to exaggerating everything. He then quoted an Urdu couplet. शौकी तुल ए पेच इश्क कु जुल्मत कदे में है अगर बंगाली के बाद सुन और बंगाला के बाद देख. If you like to add length to a story, put a twist in its tale. Hear a Bengali talk endlessly and gaze upon his woman's long hair. I found this very amusing and put it down in my notebook for fodder to tease my Bengali friends with. I asked the general why Pakistan had put up such a miserable performance in the field of battle. It was not a fair fight, he replied. First, you cut off air contact between West and East Pakistan. Then your men infiltrated deep inside the East Pakistan long before we were compelled to declare war. All these stories of Mukti Bahini were propaganda. The Mukti Bahini were Indian soldiers trained for guerrilla warfare. There were very few Bengalis in it to start with. You armed them, your officers led and directed them. Our troops had to face the enemy in front as well as in their rear. The orderly volunteered his opinion, Awam hamare khilaf ho gaya. The people had turned against us. The general did not approve of his orderly expressing an opinion and raised his hands to silence him. But I crashed in on the pronouncement. That is exactly what I have been saying. What can an army do if the entire populace of a country rise against it?